Hello, Patreon. Here we are again. I just bleached my teeth. Today, I'm talking to you about what to look for in a partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I have a lot of experience with people that were not a match for me and were bad for me. Maybe they weren't bad people, but for me, it was like really bad. It was not like healthy or good. So I can speak definitely from that kind of place, like what to avoid. I read this really good book though, like 2 years ago. It was something about settling for Mr. Right. How sometimes we have way sorry, I'm adjusting the camera. Sometimes we have way too high of expectations in ways that don't matter and you have to like settle by getting over these dumb things, but then realizing what's actually important and getting those things and being way more happy. So, it was talking about how sometimes people just have way too crazy standards like, "Oh, my husband needs to be super good looking, super handsome, super tall, and blonde hair and blue eyes really doesn't matter. Rich, fun, exciting, but then, loyal and stable and reliable and loving and warm, but hardworking, CEO personality type. All these things that, like, may not stereotypically fit together, like, oh, this super driven workaholic type who also totally makes time for me and is emotionally available 24/7, but also wrapped up in his work. Like, I don't really, if you actually think about it, it's like, those don't really go together all the time. But it gave me a really good perspective on what actually matters, like reliability. Is this person someone that, texts you back and calls you back and makes plans and then follows through with them? Or is this someone where it's like, oh yeah, they said they want to hang out on Tuesday, but they might cancel, or like, I don't really know if that's still a thing, and it makes you like, I don't know, if the situation just kind of makes you uneasy and unsure, it might be your own problem, but it might be something with the person that you're dating. Another big one is loyalty. Also, there's this thing that we call the wandering eye. If you're hanging out with someone and you notice that like they like subtly checking out a lot of the people around you, like, ooh, look at that girl, whatever, but not saying something, but you just kind of feel their wandering eye. Maybe that's not a quality you want in a partner. So like loyalty is more of a focus. Like, I'm with you right now. I'm dating you. You're the person I want to be with. Sure, there's plenty of attractive people in the world. It's not like you're gonna find someone that's never gonna be attracted to other people necessarily. But you don't want someone that's like looking constantly and like pursuing that stuff. That sucks. What else to look for in a partner? Oh my gosh, this is huge for me. Warmth. Warmth. I one of my one of my biggest flaws. One of my tendencies can be to go in a more cold direction. I feel like I've really grown through this a lot in the last few years. But in my childhood and my teenage years, like, I was a very cold person. When I would get mad or hurt, I just like slam the door emotionally, shut people out. And sometimes I would date people who are also cold. Like, if they have that tendency, if two people in a relationship both have a tendency to be cold or critical or harsh and they're, more like detail oriented, analytical, or whatever, that's kind of the downside, is you might be critical. If you're both like that, like, that's really not a complementary dynamic. So, knowing myself, I always know that I'm much happier with people who are more warm and accepting and forgiving of, human frailties. So someone who's warm, and when you have like an argument or a fight, that's a big one. Communication. When you're having an argument or a fight and someone can talk it out and be rational and be fair and not let you slide with mean stuff, but not let their own mean stuff slide either, like just be honest and fair, talk it out. That is so important. Communication, reliability, loyalty, warmth, responsibility. Do they have their finances in line? Do they, maybe they're not the richest person in the world, but, are they, like, building a savings account? Or is this person, like, $30,000 in credit card debt? These are things you should know about someone if you're thinking about being in a serious relationship with them. Because if you're going to build a future together, it's like, is this someone that I can count on to, like, run a household with me? Or is this someone I can count on to run my household into the ground? Even if they're super nice and funny, if your life's going to be a living nightmare, you might want to reconsider. Practical things like that. Responsibility, do they like take care of their health? They don't have to be a fitness model on Instagram, but they're like taking care of themselves. And do they take care of themselves like mentally and emotionally, or do they kind of stress themselves out on take on way too much at once? It's not like any of these are deal breakers, but it's just things to consider. If someone's like responsible and on top of their lives and like doing a good job, keeping it together. That's really good. And it's really hard to find people that have like every single good trait, but it's just nice to go through your list as you're getting to know them, and instead of being like, oh my gosh, they're so funny and crazy and they love to like jump motorcycles off the roof and like all this wild stuff. It's so exciting. That might not be useful 10 years, 20 years from now when you're in a more serious place. So it's good to start practicing focusing on what actually matters and what's going to give you a solid, happy future, and let go of the like exciting, unpredictable things that are either fun now, but years from now it might not be what helps you sleep at night. I hope that made sense. I feel like I was kind of rambling a bit, but it made sense to me. That's all for now, folks. I'll see you in a couple Mondays.